Well, good day, folks. NBWildman here again. Just going to take another quick look at a camera review. This is the SpyPoint Link Evo, available in Canada and hooks up to Canadian cellular networks. This camera is a great camera. It takes 12 megapixel pictures, and it takes HD video. It's 42 high-powered, low-glow LEDs. Now, it does glow a little bit when it's flashed, so if you're a hunter out there that's used to the absolute black flash or no glow cameras, you may not love this. It does have a red glow. Now I'm going to give you a real review here. This isn't one of those reviews where I walk you through the instruction manual. This is one where I'm going to tell you I've used this camera for a year, and I'm going to give you my experiences with it in the field. So far, what I can tell you is the only thing that I love about this camera is the idea behind it. The idea that you can send pictures directly to your cell phone across SpyPoint's network is just fabulous. It's better than having to go in and check your spots and disrupting the area around them. You can get pictures sent as often as every time they happen, or a couple times a day, or every couple hours, or whatever. So that idea is great. The problem I have with these cameras is that from the get-go, they operate fine, but they are so difficult to use, and it has to be just so in order to make them work. So I'm going to walk you through what some of the experiences I've had with this camera is, and you can decide for yourself whether or not it's something that you may or may not want to purchase. So first off, we're going to talk about price point. This camera was not cheap by any means. It's not the solar version of the camera. It's the standard Link Evo with 4G. You can pick these up at Cabela's right now for about $349. You can find them every now and then. Bass Pro in Moncton will have them on for $319. And then the bear box that goes along with them. Like I said in my last video, I don't put cameras out without bear boxes. So the bear box that goes with them, they're expensive. They're about 60 bucks, depending on where you want to buy them. But they're about twice the price of any other camera bear box that I've purchased, which I really don't understand because they're generic. They don't even really fit each specific camera. So any SpyPoint camera that you buy fits in this generic bear box here for SpyPoint. It's even got the solar spot at the top, even though this isn't a solar camera, which makes it a real pain. That's one of the problems that I've encountered with keeping these cameras up and running well, is that you've got this big square hole in the top of the bear box where the solar panel would normally go. And when you put the camera in there, you've got the entire top of your camera exposed, and that will fill up. I mean, it rains down directly on the camera. It can snow on the camera. Stuff can get down in this hole here. It's just not ideal, and it feels to me like the camera's really exposed. As it is, the face of the camera is exposed, and now the top of the camera is exposed. And I don't know, I just feel like some damage could be done by a person or an animal if they chose to do so. So the bear box is not ideal when it comes to that, and the price certainly isn't ideal as well. So together you got the camera and the bear box, and by the time you throw in the government share, you're probably looking at close to $400 for this setup, which is a lot for most normal hunters out there in New Brunswick. So the price isn't super appealing, but the idea behind the camera really is. Okay, so camera operates on 8 batteries. They are not on the inside cover as they are with most. These batteries actually are installed through a little flap here in the back. Push this and this flap opens up, and so you can see that it takes 8 batteries. One of the things that it recommends in the instruction manual is that you use only lithium batteries. I will tell you that this is absolutely the way to go. If you do not use lithium batteries, you can literally open up the app on your phone, which is what you need to set this baby up. You can literally open it up and watch the battery power decrease. It'll just click down, 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 and a set of batteries won't last you 2 weeks in these cameras. You put in lithiums and they'll show 100%, and you can get pretty close to a month, sometimes a month and a half, depending on what you have your settings set at, out of a set of batteries. So there is that. Underneath these batteries is where the SD card goes, or sorry, not the SD card, where the SIM card goes, that allows the cellular network to function. Again, so it takes 8 batteries, which isn't too bad when it comes to cameras. Lots take 12, some take 6, etc. That's not too bad. but you do have to make sure you use lithium batteries, and again, those are another $14 or $15 for a set of 8 batteries. On the inside though, the setup of these is really quite simple. You put in your SD card right here, nice and easy. They'll take anywhere from a 4 to a 64 gig card, and you can put those in. You turn the camera on and you watch for your little blue lights. There are 5 possible. This is your cell signal. They'll flash while they attempt to find a cellular signal, and then you can go from there. Now, SpyPoint will tell you that as long as you have a signal, you can get pictures. That's not true. I've used this camera in 4 or 5 locations this fall, and you need at least 2 bars of signal. And at 2 bars of signal, you're going to get not great service, but you'll get it. You'll get pictures eventually. I mean, the wind can blow and you drop down to 1 bar, then you get nothing, or something like that. So right here, I've got 3 bars of service, and this little red flashing light here means that this thing's ready to go. I will tell you this: one of the problems is that wherever you are, and you pull out your cell phone and at your hunting spot, and you have reception, if you have 3 bars on your phone, you're going to have 2 on this. If you've got 2 bars on your phone, you've got 1 on this, etc. So if you're in an area that's a little sketchy as far as cell service goes, and you can sometimes get a signal and sometimes not, you're not going to be able to run this baby. You're going to put in all the time and effort and put it up, and then you're just going to be frustrated because you're going to not receive the pictures. Now, that being said, this camera is still taking pictures, and it takes really nice photos, but you still have to come and swap out the card in order to see those photographs. But as far as the function where they send them to your phone, not going to happen if you don't have a minimum of 2 bars of service. So like I said, everything is quite easy to set up on the camera. It's all done through SpyPoint's app. You just download the app, go ahead and create an account and log in. All your setup and everything is done here. There's where your pictures are going to come up if you get any that aren't just snow and wind. There are several places you can change your settings, and you have basic cellular setup, advanced options, things like that. This will tell you when you want your first picture to go, how many times a day, etc. So all of this is in the instruction manual, and you don't need me to tell you this. What you do need me to tell you though, however, is that when you look at the status here of your camera, this only shows you the status as of its last transmission. So if your signal strength drops down to 1 or 2 and you don't get a transmission, then this status screen means nothing. Your battery power, your SD card size, all of those things, how much room is left on the card, all of those things, they're not really relevant because it only records this when it transmits a photo to your phone. So it's not always accurate, is what I've found. But other than that, the setup of these is a piece of cake. You can get this camera up and running and taking pictures in about 5 minutes after you download the app. That's a piece of cake. So like I said, about needing some signal strength, the idea here is that we get a good strong signal so that we can transmit pictures to the phone. However, most of us that are hunters that look for some big game, we're not necessarily in town where we get good reception. So I went ahead, because I'm that guy, and I had a spot where I got sketchy cell service, but some, and I wanted this camera to work, so I went ahead and bought the $70 add-on, which is this antenna booster that you can order. I ordered mine from Cabela's, I believe. It's basically just 15 feet of coax cable with the right connector, and then this baby on this bracket here, which is supposed to boost your cellular strength. I used it in the spot where I had 2 bars of service, hooked it all up, strung it 15 feet up in the tree, and after all that rigmarole, I ended up with 2 bars of service. So I don't know if it doesn't work. I don't know if it just doesn't get, maybe it's just the area. I moved the camera, moved the antenna to a different spot where I had 2 bars of service, and I used the antenna and I got 3 bars of service. It worked very well there. Here is the problem with this piece of equipment. It's not designed to work with the bare box. It is a super pain. So you go ahead and put the camera in the bare box, because you're going to set this baby up on a tree, right? So you've attached it, and I can't even get the bare box to open at this point. There we go. So you put the camera in, and you make sure the antenna is up. It fits nice and snug. Okay, everything looks like it's going well. You put this in here like this and drop it down in there. Perfect. Fits nice in the bear box. Everything looks good, right? Everything looks good here. Antenna's up. Antenna's up. You got this big hole in the top, which I've already talked about and I don't like. Here's the problem, is that the side of this, the holes in the side, do not line up with the antenna very well. So the idea here is that you're going to remove the antenna that comes with it. So you just open this up and you just unscrew it. It's just a little tiny fine gold screw. Now again, be super careful because I've lost this twice so far and had to go back and find it. There's a little waterproof cap right here that goes over top of that screw. If you lose that, then you're going to get moisture down in there and you're going to lose your ability for the antenna. Okay, so I got this and I've got my fancy extended, supposed to be antenna booster. After it's all strung up in the tree or on a stick or pole or whatever, you end up with this. Okay, so you can't attach it now because then you can't get it in the box. So you have to put your camera in the box, okay, and then you have to feed this through the hole first. So you have to pull it way through, so you're going to have some flexibility. So you pull this way through and then you attach it to the camera as such. Seems pretty standard, right? Most of you can figure this out, right? So you got a coax cable attached to the antenna's up in a tree. Here's the problem: you go to put it back in the box and it doesn't fit. It is such a curse. There's no flexibility in this edge of the cable right here. It's a solid piece underneath that black tape that I've taped over it. So I can't, there's not enough room to manipulate this into the box. Now I've taken already and I've drilled the hole right here. I've drilled this hole already bigger than it was with a drill. And I've tried to make it so that there was some wiggle room, but if I do it much more, I'm going to ruin the integrity of the box right here, the strength of it. So this is not designed to work with the antenna booster. I have fought with this and fought with these, and if you bend it, I mean, if you really force it and move it and bend it and squish it around, you can actually, with some effort, you can get it in there. Now again, right there, I've just marked that piece of plastic right up in there with the edge of that box is quite sharp, but once it's in there, I guess it's fine. I have broken this attachment twice, attempting to get it in the bear box with the antenna booster on it. Once I had to send it back for repair, and the other time I was able to repair it myself. But absolutely not user-friendly to use the antenna booster with the bear box, although I feel that it's absolutely necessary to use the two together. That is a huge complaint that I have. Building a generic bear box for all SpyPoint cameras and then having an accessory that you can put on the camera that doesn't fit in the bear box, that just doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you paid $60 for the bear box. That's just nuts. So here's another little beauty that they don't tell you. Once you put your SD card into the SpyPoint camera and turn it on for the first time and it acquires a signal and does its thing, it actually downloads files to the SD card. And before it will transmit any photos, you have to take the SD card to your computer, which is no problem, except it doesn't say it anywhere in the instruction manual. I had to actually read this on a review from trailcampro.com. So you take it to your computer, put it in, and you have to actually open up the file. That this is, and so this is the information that's been downloaded onto that SD card. You have to open up this application, and it will give you this. And this is SpyPoint Link Evo. It tells you like the date and the time and all those things. But you need to make sure, because it's not when it's new. You need to go over and put it on photo mode right there. Cellular defaults to off when you put this on, so you have to turn the cellular on, put it on photo mode, and you set your delay right here. 1 minute delay is what mine is, multi-shots 2, quality is normal, okay? So that right there needs to be done, and then you need to save these settings right there, and it saves it on the card. Once that's done, you're good to take this back out, put it in the cell camera, and it will transmit photos. But it's not anywhere in the instruction manual. So I was struggling to get it to send photos until I read a review on trailcampro.com that said this is what you have to do or your camera won't work. And it's no problem. It's just, it doesn't tell you what to do. So if you're looking for a camera that just, you plug the card in and it goes to work, this is not the camera for you. So for me, the jury's still out on this camera. I'm not sure if I like it or not. It seems to be really difficult to use. It's simple. As far as the concept and the setup and how it goes, and I love the fact that you don't need a cellular card. It works straight through SpyPoint's network, but it seems it's been nothing but problem after problem after problem. It just doesn't seem to, everything's just really complicated as far as, it doesn't work with the bare box, and then the antenna really doesn't do it much good, and then the batteries, we had to be lithium, and then it only transmits certain times, and if it's bad weather, it doesn't transmit. Like, it just seems to be, I really want it to work. I really love the concept, but I'm going to give it one more season, and if I can't seem to get it to work a little better, it's a $400 camera. This thing should be taking pictures and bringing in bucks all by itself for that kind of money. One other thing I will mention, and maybe I'm just a little bit superstitious, I use a lot of black flash or absolutely no glow cameras, and where this one has a little glow, I got an awful lot of one-time pictures, right? Bucks looking right at the camera and then never see them at your spot again. Or does come in, look right at your camera in a nighttime photo, and then not come back for a week or a week and a half. So that doesn't seem to happen with a lot of my other cameras, and I don't know if it's the flash. I don't know if this has some type of signal or hum or frequency, or I don't know. And maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just being superstitious, but I typically don't get a lot of one-time photos where deer go to my spot and then don't come back. Usually once they start at one of my locations, I can, they're there quite frequently. But this year with this camera, I probably have a dozen different times when deer came in, they're looking right at the camera when it takes their picture, and then they're gone and either don't come back for ages or they don't come back at all. So maybe it's just me. I got an idea for a spot to try this camera for next season, and like I say, I'm going to get it out mid-May, and I'll let you know how the results go. But for this kind of money, you need to be ready to tinker with it, and you need to be a little bit computer savvy in order to use one. That's all I can tell you. I will say that their customer service is exceptional. I asked a ton of questions. There's a spot on their website, SpyPoint.com, where you can open up a live chat, and they will chat with you. You can ask them about the camera. They can give you answers. I sent this one back one time because the antenna broke as I was trying to put it in the bare box with the extension, the antenna booster, and they replaced the camera with no questions. It was less than 2 weeks, and I had a new camera back, all set up and ready to go. So their customer service is exceptional when it comes to replacing cameras or repairing cameras that have been damaged. But just, I don't know, the jury's still out. So anyway, this is NBWildman here, and I just wanted to give you some real life applications or real life talk about how these cameras work. I'm going to do a second video about these cameras in a different application, not as a game camera. We do have one set up as a security camera at a location, and we'll do another video coming right up about how that works and what's good and or bad about that type of use for this camera. So until that time, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more great hunting, trapping, shooting videos. Hit that bell for notifications so that you're notified when we put a new video up. And feel free to give us any comments, experiences that you've had with these cameras, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in the middle. Until then, NBWildman out.